I'm well. I'm the baldbookgeek, and I'm in bed with congestion. But I thought I would do a little video for you guys. So I've talked about the best books of the year, so let's talk about the worst. Being a booktuber and critic, you do have to sift through a lot of crap. And usually you can tell where this crap is coming from. But sometimes you get books and you think, oh dear God, or you take a risk with an author you don't like and you still don't like the author. So, yeah. So let's talk about them. So, only 2 books really stood out of. I have a scoring system for books, and I don't use that on my reviews, but I do use it as a basis for my opinions. I list negatives and positives and see which what outweighs what. And these 2 books just screamed at me bad. So we're going to start with the first one, which is Soul Stealer by Sarah J. Maas. This was part of the DC books that they did, and it kills me to say I haven't liked any of them. This sort of YA retelling of superheroes that really don't belong in YA have left me very cold. And this, I took a risk with it because Catwoman is one of my favourite DC characters. And I took a risk, and I will say I don't like Sarah J. Maas. I think anyone who watches my channel knows I do not rate her as a writer at all. Her writing style is generic. It has a self-fulfillment fanfic vibe to it, and that just icks me. She can't tell a good story. She just writes generic and boring, and that's what Soul Stealer was. It was generic. It read like a 13, 14-year-old girl finding out who Catwoman is and writing her own fanfic on fanfic.net. Probably with better English, I will say that. The English and use of English was actually perfect. But it was self-fulfillment fanfiction. It was dead in the water, and I read it and I wanted to pull my beard out because it was just so bad. I hated what she did to Catwoman, and she reduced Catwoman to this snivelling, annoying Lego brick, typical YA female protagonist. And it just, I took a risk and I was disappointed, but I'm not shocked I was disappointed because I don't like her. I don't like Sarah J. Maas at all as a writer, and I don't keep those opinions. I don't keep those opinions to myself. If you're going to do superheroes, do it well. I read Mad Love this year, and that made my top list of best books of the year. And Mad Love was fantastic, and I really hope that we get more from Titan involving the superhero and villainess canon, because Catwoman and a few other people together, Poison Ivy, would be really cool. But no, it was bad. It was a shit book, basically. And it was self-fulfillment, teenage girl fanfiction with no character development, story, or anything remotely interesting about it. Book number 2, Zenith, by Sasha Altsberg and Lindsay Cummings. This book made me not want to read any Lindsay Cummings books at all. Just clarifying that. And without going into anything, I have no issues with her or the people involved in the book. I'm going to do a disclaimer here. I have no issues with Sasha Altsberg, beyond the obvious. The only reason that unfinished mess got published was that she was a big booktuber. It's simple. It's so simple. And the problem is, the book was a science fiction novel written by people who don't really watch or read science fiction. When you said, oh, I watched Firefly as a child, you're like, yeah, but there's more to science fiction than just Joss Whedon. You know, it was a Guardians of the Galaxy meets Firefly, all with an all-female crew mess. Basically, the main storyline is over less than halfway in the book. then something else happens and it's just random scenes. The endless points of view shift as well do my head in. You know, it was just the fact that all of these characters are written the same, all sound the same. Her use of PTSD and making very contradictory characters that just didn't sit right. They felt like just to make them edgy. Again, these characters were Lego bricks. They had no real personality. Nothing really interesting happened to them. And they were boring. And the endless amounts of plot holes, contradictory information, the fact that there is no actual real storyline to this book, and the best part of this book was the last few pages, says so much about it. If you're going to write a book, write a book. I'm a writer. I'm getting a book published. But a lot of work has gone into this, and I'm just shocked that Zenith is getting a sequel. And we know the only reason it's getting a sequel is, to be honest, it made money. And my 100% opinion is, and this is my advice to both Sasha Outsberg and Lindsay Cummings, don't write it yourselves. Hire a ghostwriter. Hire someone who can actually write a book rather than churn out a load of meaningless and pointless shit. I know it sounds hard, but at the end of the day, those two books just drove me insane to the point of I couldn't escape one of them, and one of them ruined one of my favourite characters. But also as someone who knows literature. So yeah, that's my worst books I've read in 2018. And I know I'm going to offend someone over this, but who the hell cares? Anyway, I will, tell me what you think. What's the worst books you've read this year? What's that one or few books where you thought, dear God, what the hell? Because I'd love to know. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.